Welcome to Keeping It G with G, the podcast. I'm your host, Gian, but you can call me G. Hence, Keeping It G with G, the podcast. To keep it G means to maintain a level of respect for oneself and those around you. And that is why this show was created, to have an open, honest, vulnerable, and accountable discussion about the ups and downs of everyday life shit as it pertains to self-improvement, love, relationships, and motherhood. So in hopes of me sharing through personal experiences from the lessons I've learned and still learning, I pray that I can shed light and share some gems that will give you that extra push that you may need as we are all growing and learning through life. I'm here to reassure my listeners that it's okay to keep it G while on your journey. Now let's start the show. Welcome to episode 77 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. With 2020 coming to a close in a couple of more weeks, that time of the year has come for us to be accountable for what we allow to transpire in our lives, like I spoke about a few episodes ago, and that includes having the courage and the willpower to rid ourselves of anything that we've outgrown. So let's talk ridding yourself. The act of letting go and ridding yourself of any dead connections that you've outgrown. Stop hoarding, stop forcing, stop excusing, giving people 101 chances to continuously show you who they are and how they show up or not show up for you, and accept that shit for what it is. This goes for both relationships and friendships. If I've not learned anything else this year, it has been a year of shedding over and over again. I felt almost every emotion across the board, and with each one, I've learned many valuable lessons that have also forced me to go within and being accountable, giving myself space to be who I am unapologetically, and most importantly, honoring myself. But I feel as though there should be 2 times, if not more frequently, depending on the person and the situation at hand, where you should shed. Do some shedding and ridding yourself, so to speak. One is, of course, during the spring, hence spring cleaning. And then another time is at the end of the year, like we are now, as we go into a new year. I feel like it's imperative and necessary for me as it pertains to my growth and me growing into the woman that God wants me to be. And so I'm not just speaking of shedding people or things out of your life. I'm speaking of shedding bad attitudes, outlooks, perspectives, things that you constantly make excuses for because you're set in your ways, so to speak. And this doesn't mean with just other people. Like I said, I want to keep repeating that because I want you guys to understand that this is not just as it pertains to other people and ridding yourself and shedding them. This is a time where we should be going within, looking in the mirror, acknowledging what's not working, and begin doing the work for the change that we want to see to come to life. But it takes a lot of courage, willpower, and confidence to do this, because it's very easy for us to be content and comfortable, because over time we develop a rhythm of how things work for us. But what I've learned is God will make you uncomfortable and sweat right on the brink of a breakthrough and something new that could have the potential of growing you. But that's why you have to keep an open mind and understand that if something repeatedly keeps taking place in your life, it's for a reason, and you can only ignore it for so long until you're forced, you know what I'm saying, to rid yourself of that situation, whether it be a relationship, a friendship, your outlook, your perspective, your way of thinking of things. It could be anything across the board. Just know that until you have the courage to take action in your own life, that same shit will keep happening over and over and over and over. But what I am learning is that it is very necessary to adopt a new outlook frequently, like constantly renewing yourself. There's no timeline or there's no number on how many times you can reinvent yourself. As long as you're doing the work to become the best version of yourself, even if you do fall on your ass here and there, or you have a hiccup to where you feel like you were going 10 steps ahead, but then you did something and now it feels like you're going backwards, just continuously do the work. Bring it to the forefront, acknowledge it, and just continue to move forward to be and become the best possible version of yourself for yourself. But what I was saying was that it's very necessary to adopt a new outlook and to have an open mind and perspective in order to grow. So I'm giving myself permission to do that, and I encourage you guys to do that as well, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because I can only grow from shedding. It's very necessary and it's imperative. You cannot hold on to and do things the way that you've always done things, because that's boring and you already know what to expect. So get uncomfortable, step out of your comfort zone, bring shit to the forefront, write down some shit that you feel like you need to shed in 2020 that could be stifling your growth or that has made you too comfortable and too content, so that you don't bring that into 2021 with you. This could be anything from attitudes, behaviors, outlooks, people, things, friendships, jobs, relationships, whatever it is. If you feel you've outgrown it and it's no longer doing anything for you and you're bored of it, then that means it's time for a change. Write it down so that you can have the audacity to let it go. There has to come a point in your life where you have to ask yourself frequently, is this adding to my life or subtracting from my life? And be honest with yourself about it, and then start moving accordingly, unapologetically, and honoring yourself, standing firm in it, not budging, and following through with it. And so I don't want to continue to ramble on about this topic of ridding yourself, because I feel like it's very self-explanatory. And so with that being said, before I end this week's show, I do want to end it with a quote. And this quote is by Yasmin Cheyenne. She posted, "Say it with me. I can grow even if the people around me aren't ready to. They aren't stopping me. I am. I commit to getting out of my own way by doing it even if I'm unsure or scared. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to be willing." And I'll leave you guys with that. Have a great rest of the week. Be sure to follow all things Keeping It G with G, the podcast, and to check out the website. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your family and friends about the podcast. And I will leave you with that. And I'll talk to you for the next episode of Keeping It G with G podcast.